Fear can break even the strongest people, but for some celebrities, it became the force that pushed them to greatness. Imagine having crippling stage fright and then performing in front of thousands, or nearly drowning as a child and later conquering the ocean. These stars faced their biggest fears head-on and came out victorious. You won't believe who overcame their phobia in the most dramatic way. Robert Pattinson, fear of horses. You'd never guess it, but Robert Pattinson, the brooding heartthrob from Twilight, was terrified of horses. This phobia stemmed from a childhood accident that left him traumatized.
I didn't know how to ride a horse.
But when he was cast in The King, 2019, which required him to ride horses, he had no choice but to face his fear. Through intensive training and exposure therapy, he managed to overcome it. By the time filming wrapped up, he had even formed a bond with his on-set horse. Talk about character development. Oprah Winfrey, fear of chewing gum. Yes, you read that right. One of the most powerful women in the world, Oprah Winfrey, had a serious fear of chewing gum. This unusual phobia came from her childhood, when her grandmother would collect chewed gum and stick it on furniture. The sight and smell of gum would make Oprah physically ill. For years, she banned gum from her studio and refused to be around it. However, through mindful exposure and therapy, she eventually learned to tolerate it. While she may never be a gum-chewing fan, she no longer lets it control her life. Johnny Depp, fear of clowns. You'd think a man who played Captain Jack Sparrow and Edward Scissorhands wouldn't be scared of much, but Johnny Depp has openly admitted to having coulrophobia, a fear of clowns. This fear developed in childhood as he found clowns' exaggerated features and expressions disturbing. However, working in Hollywood, where makeup and prosthetics are common, forced him to confront his phobia. He even went as far as collecting clown figurines to desensitize himself. Now he's able to laugh at his old fear and even embrace it in some of his movie roles. Jennifer Aniston, fear of flying. Despite being one of Hollywood's most recognizable faces, Jennifer Aniston spent years dreading air travel. Her fear of flying began after experiencing turbulence on a plane as a child.
On the takeoff, on the taxi, we heard an explosion.
As an A-list actress, avoiding flights wasn't an option, so she decided to take action. She underwent cognitive behavioral therapy and worked with flight specialists to understand turbulence and airplane safety. Over time, she gained confidence and can now comfortably travel by air, making international filming schedules much easier to manage. Keanu Reeves, fear of darkness. Keanu Reeves may be known for playing fearless characters like John Wick and Neo, but as a child, he was deeply afraid of the dark. Growing up, he had terrifying nightmares that made him avoid sleeping in total darkness. Over the years, he pushed himself to confront his fear, using meditation and exposure therapy. Eventually, he outgrew the fear, even using it to fuel his intense performances in dark, action-packed films. Adele, fear of performing live. One of the biggest voices in music, Adele, has openly talked about her crippling stage fright. She experiences severe anxiety before going on stage, sometimes even throwing up due to nerves. Despite her fears, she continues to push herself, using breathing exercises and therapy to manage the anxiety. Her ability to face this fear time and time again is what makes her performances so raw and powerful. Matthew McConaughey, fear of revolving doors. It sounds bizarre, but Matthew McConaughey once had an irrational fear of revolving doors. Something about the mechanics and the feeling of being trapped inside unsettled him. Over time, he slowly confronted his fear by deliberately walking through them, turning what once was a source of anxiety into a simple daily action. Now he jokes about it and says he's all right with revolving doors. Tyra Banks, fear of dolphins. Supermodel and media mogul. Tyra Banks has a surprising phobia: dolphins. She has admitted to being terrified of their appearance and movements since childhood. Even seeing them on TV made her uneasy. But in 2018, she decided to challenge herself by getting into the water with dolphins for a photo shoot. Though she wasn't entirely cured, she proved to herself that she could handle her fear and not let it define her. Nicole Kidman, fear of butterflies. Butterflies may be seen as symbols of beauty and transformation, but for Nicole Kidman, they were a nightmare. Since childhood, she had an extreme fear of butterflies, avoiding gardens and parks where they were common. To overcome it, she once forced herself to walk through a butterfly-filled park in London. While she's still not a fan, she no longer lets the sight of a butterfly ruin her day. Scarlett Johansson, fear of birds. Despite playing fearless characters like Black Widow, Scarlett Johansson has a deep-seated fear of birds. She finds their unpredictable movements unsettling and avoids close encounters with them whenever possible. However, working on film sets with trained birds helped her become more comfortable. Though she still keeps her distance, she no longer has panic attacks at the sight of them. Fear doesn't have to define you, it can fuel your success. These celebrities turned their worst nightmares into their greatest triumphs. Which of these stories inspired you the most? Let me know in the comments. And if you want more jaw-dropping celeb stories, hit that subscribe button. See you in the next one.